Well, thanks again for joining another episode of Lessons into Blessings podcast, where we are leveling up investors in their financial freedom by sharing stories and strategies of everyday investors who have changed their financial trajectory through real estate. So we have with us today Jody Dents. He is the owner and founder of Onyx Capital Partners. They lend to real estate investors for bridge, fix and flip, construction. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about it, but he's transacted over $200 million of real estate investments. He's a realtor. He's a mortgage licensee. He does it all. And one of the things that I love about this brother is his energy and his vision. Met him probably back in 2007, 8 time period when the market crashed. And we really vibed because of his visionary kind of mindset, my operational mindset. I think we had a lot of complementary skills there. And I just love his positive mindset, his can-do. And he's done a lot in real estate. And I wanted to just bring him on so he could share his journey in this space. So let's welcome Jody Dents.
What is up? How are you guys doing? Thank you, Tari. And, I appreciate you bringing me aboard, and just discussing life in general and
for
in
sure.
real estate. So I'm excited. I'm going to give you everything I know. And,
that might be too much for about 20 to 30 minutes, but we'll take snippets.
Yeah, we'll be here forever. Me and you, we go back. We definitely got stories, and
yeah, for sure.
And but yeah, I'm excited about this interview, and this is happening, and
yeah,
I look forward to it.
Cool. Let's just start with just your mindset. Like I said, like you've always had this, you've always had a big mindset. I'm like, whoa, where's this dream going? Like he's just got vision for days. Where do you believe you picked up kind of your visionary mindset? Like where did that come from?
It's just all about, to me, just the gratitude that I have, the mindset of, I think it started with, me in college being the first in my family to graduate college. And because I wanted to do it, I was just focused on those objectives to be that person. Obviously you can probably see some of the degrees back there, but I went all the way through to graduate school, got a master's degree. But I just had that drive and just focus. Don't get me wrong. There was a lot of obstacles, in the way of me, achieving that level. But, I just overcame those obstacles. I just didn't quit. Some people will just quit and just give up. And I just didn't do that. I think, the faith in me that caused me to move forward. I think that was one of the catalysts that really dropped home with me from that standpoint. So that's what motivates me. In the goals that I set aside, and just being grateful for what I have. And am I there yet? No, I'm far from it. But I want to be able to. I'm at a point where I now want to be able to just teach people some of the ways, some of the mindsets. Especially in the space that I'm in right now. So
yeah, no, that's good stuff. So now let's talk about just your journey. How did you, obviously you went to school, and obviously your parents probably didn't teach you about real estate, right? And so how did you why real estate? Why did you jump in? What kind of led you down that journey?
Well, I started, it's kind of funny because when you have parents, your parents don't teach you anything, well, most of them. About finances in general while you're in school. You go to school and you get that loan, and all of a sudden you get a job, and all of a sudden, now you got to pay the loan back, and you're stuck in that,
right.
that rabbit hole, that hamster wheel, type of thing. You're working to pay the bills. you know, I had a degree in construction, and, you know, how I got here is, you know, we did a project back in undergraduate school, a construction project during my senior year, and went to a home building conference to, you know, do a competition in Texas. And then lo and behold, you know, one of the CEOs for my home builder here in Phoenix called UDC Homes, you know, liked the presentation and invited us to come to Phoenix, you know, to tour the company and all that. And, you know, coming from a kid coming from Oklahoma, you know, it's, you know, when we left Oklahoma, it was cold and snowy in March, and got down to Phoenix, and we saw a bunch of golf courses and hot air balloons, and weather was perfect. And so that's how I got here, and then I said, yeah, you know, this is how I got into home building as a project supervisor, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm graduating, okay, I'm going to be like a manager, you know, for this company instantly. No, they put me out in the field and did customer service work, meaning that I got a degree, I'm good to go. I'm going to get this, you know, nice little cushiony job. And no, I'm out there caulking people's tubs.
Oh, wow.
You know, in customer service. So it humbled myself.
Yeah.
In that, knowing that you have to start from some level, ground up, but you continue to work yourself up. And I stuck with it because, again, that's just my mindset. I know where I want to go, and kind of moved up within that home building company. But my colleague introduced me to flips in real estate rehab flips, basically. And he said, Jody, let's do our first project in North Phoenix. I think it was off of 7th Street in Thunderbird, in that area, somewhere in that area. It was the first property. I remember that there's like yesterday, 2002. And, you know, I did some sweat equity in that home that he picked up. You know, we started doing tile work and all that good stuff. And he turned around and he flipped it and made a profit. I'm like, this is kind of interesting. So I made a profit off a property, and the profit was like, you know, a decent amount versus me working 9 to 5. Right. So that's what started. So I got like intrigued in real estate investing and started to buy my first property. And then I bought another one. Then I bought another one to rent out in that market, and, you know, started cash flowing. I'm like, that's good. And then I even had some cars, that I own free and clear, they're sitting in my garage, and I knew, there's some people who wanted to lease the car out for me or sell or finance the cars to me. So I'm like, okay, cash flow. So that is the way to, some of the financial freedom that you have. So I started, trading less time for dollars by doing that. And then, okay, here comes, I was up to like 6 properties. Then here comes the 2006, 2007 crash.
Yeah.
I lost like 4 of the properties just because of those crazy loans and getting into those loans. So that was the humbling experience. I went to a peak and then you hit a little valley.
Yeah.
That was my valley. Losing those homes and feeling some type of way. I got laid off from the home builder because of the financial crisis, and I started losing money. To a point where my home was almost being foreclosed on. I was scared. I was really, really scared at that time. But I kept the faith. I just really kept the faith. I know, God, you're going to get me out of this. And that's what happened. And then all of a sudden.
What's your biggest, not to cut you off, what's your biggest, because that was I know a lot of investors in that space, and I know the market in Arizona crashed so hard that it went below lows, right?
Yeah.
And it left a lot of investors making a choice of like, I think I just got to walk away, right?
Yeah.
What was kind of your biggest lesson in that space? Like something that you take away from, if I could do it all again, I would do this differently, or maybe you wouldn't do it differently. Here's the thing that I've lessened that I've been able to roll into other, other things.
Well, yeah, it's just the idea of understanding, okay, the market goes in cycle. There's peaks and valleys within this economic market, this real estate market. And now what I know now versus then, I know how to hedge it. Back then, if I would have known back then, I would have mustered up every dollar that I had and just when people walk away, I go buy.
Yep.
Like right now, it's a great time to buy because now the market, back then, the market was very low. These guys are, I was working with a group of investors who were just buying everything. Like in, the city of Maryville, back then those houses were in 2008, 2009, when everything was foreclosing, they were buying them up for 15, 20,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pop.
Yeah.
The market shot up. Now those homes were worth 120, 130.
Yeah.
And so now they made out because they were smart. They knew the entry. And now that's where I am now. I kind of, you can see those downturns when people walk away. You find a solution. There's always a solution for a problem.
That's good.
Is. And so, to this day, me and my partners, we have solutions like the recession is, they're about to happen. Inflation is happening. Now we put together a system that, we can hedge against that and make great income based off of down market. So that's what we are right now. It's this exciting time in this business where everybody else is thinking, frantically and walking away.
Right. No, that's so good, man. Like, and that's another thing is like always be, I actually just sent out a video of just, you should always be looking in the direction where people are running away from, right? Like where is opportunities? And like you said, how can I be a problem solver? How can I fill that gap? How can I hedge against what's going on in the market right now? And there's always an opportunity for real estate. It's depending on what the market looks like is how do I prepare for that particular market? What are the strategies that I'm using for that particular market? So that's really, really good.
Yes. I mean, again, like you said, there's always a solution to a problem. And that's what the big boys, the money makers are doing. They're providing solutions to problems.
Yeah.
Even with Zoom, like what happened when COVID happened, everybody's working from home. What's the solution? Video conferencing, so now look at the creator of that is probably a billionaire. So there's always solutions to everything. And like I said, we're excited what we're doing right now with our company and our new fund that we're launched out. So to hedge against that market.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that and how you take, the dust settled, right? And you came up out of that. I don't know if you want to share a little bit about just how you rebounded. How'd you come up and turn some of the lemons into lemonade, right?
Yeah. So basically, of course, I was a realtor per se, and I was, working with investors and they were flipping homes and whatnot. But I wanted a deeper game. I wanted a deeper understanding of this real estate market. And lo and behold, I got a hold of this conference called Pitbull. And basically what that is it's just lending. It's a private lending conference, and I was already in the lending game anyway, because, I was doing seller financing on my car and I was making money off of that from a cash flow standpoint, giving somebody a certain interest rate. And so, I'm looking at the things of what banks do. Banks do pretty much the same thing. They want your money. They'll give you, even at much a 1% return off the money that you put in the bank. But guess what they do with that money?
Yeah.
They give it away to, to loans to other, customers or by credit cards or, equity line of credit or so,
Yeah.
20 something percent. Well, they're making a huge return off of your money.
Right.
And so I got hold of that. I'm like, wow, I can get into this private lending space because, investors need leverage for turning their property. So I can partner with them and they can turn the properties. But that's how I started. One thing led to another. I was all signals were pointing to a market in Detroit. And how I got to that market was another hedge fund went kind of under, and they had about 200 Detroit properties, and it was just mismanaged. And I got a hold of a majority of that particular portfolio, and then just started selling. I knew some contacts in Detroit, started selling those properties, and those investors made money out of those properties that were distressed. And then I became a lender after going to this conference. I got my mortgage originator license for the state of Arizona. And I started building my business, Onyx Capital Partners, from that back in 2018.
Okay.
And one thing led to another. Now I'm lending in 47 states.
Wow.
And I've been originating because, people talk. If I do a good job, they'll start talking. Hey, Jody is lending in Detroit, and all of a sudden I have a big market for Canadian investors in Detroit right now.
Yeah.
That I lend to in that market. And now I'm in Florida, done some in Atlanta. I'm doing a couple of in Texas, a few in California too as well. Lo and behold, but I have a huge network. And then I met my partners. He went to Michigan State. His name is Mac. Great guy.
I went to Michigan, so.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. And like I said, we're going to have a webinar or a fund. He's going to be on there showcasing himself. He has a bunch of experience. Between us two, we have over like 20 plus years experience in the real estate lending game. So we know how to underwrite deals, to make money. So now we want to, at this point, we launched our fund and we want partners with us so they can make money. Even if you have an IRA, we just inked a deal with a IRA custodian. If you have an IRA, we can definitely make the money grow tax-free, using the self-directed IRA. So we're inking that deal, and that's going to be exciting too. So there's ways to make money,
right? So you're still finding solutions for investors, right? Like how do we make money in this downturn, right? Which is, it sounds like what your fund is trying to do, by making loans available to people who are looking for it, right? And there is what type of returns, right? I'm assuming the type of returns you're looking to make will beat out inflation, right? To still give people an option to hedge against this market, right?
So the hedging effect of it is, yes, rates will fluctuate. We give certain rates to investors. In return for anybody who invests passive dollars into our fund, you get a certain rate back. And that's a fixed rate given out quarterly. And like I said, you can do, self-directed IRA, you can do it tax-free, or you can, if you have income now that you want some dollars to park in to grow and just watch it grow and let us do all the work, we certainly can do that too as well. So the cool thing about us, again, we know how to underwrite deals. We know how to originate deals with investors. Right now, we're a volume of investors looking for lending. We're about $1 million a week in loan volume for investors looking for funding for fix and flips in those certain markets. How we got there is because they know us, they trust us, they like us. We know we do great business there in those markets. And again, it's for any investor in any state who wants to, park the money into their capital into this fund, and we'll work in those states and give a nice return.
And what states are you? Are you mostly focused in Sunbelt states, or are you kind of all over the nation?
I'm focused. This fund is focused more in the upper Midwest and the Florida markets,
Okay.
because those markets are pretty nice markets, and we understand those markets. With the investor base that we currently have, we have about 6,000 investors in our database. So that's why we have a certain volume of loans that we can do a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And that's just growing at this point. So again, it's good for somebody who wants to put passive capital into this fund and letting it grow from that standpoint. Then that's great. We also, if you want to be an active investor, we certainly can lend to you too as well, and because we know the certain properties that we can flip in those markets to have a nice return.
Yeah. So let me ask this question, just because it sounds like you've got strong partnerships that you made. You met a lot of people through conferences. How important, just in the real estate game, is those partnerships, right? And is your connections and your contacts?
Very, very, very important. Again, the thing with me, I'm a loyal guy. You have to have compatibility, with whoever you're working with, and trust. There's guys that just didn't work out at the end of the day that I've worked with. I learned a lot over the years, and who to work with and who not to work with. So I think having that loyalty and trust and understanding their strengths and their weaknesses too as well. Yeah. Is key to growing something in whatever you want to do in any type of business. Again, you got to lay everything down on the table, and just have a game plan with each other, and understand there's going to be some disagreements here. Yeah. But we understand the end in mind from that standpoint. But yeah, you got to be compatible. If you get into having a partner in any type of company.
How long did it take you guys to kind of feel like you made, like it was how long did you date before you actually said, I'm gonna put a ring on it? Essentially
2 years.
Wow.
It was 2 years of working together, understanding each other, understanding the game plan, talking to each other. Like I said, Max, he's a cool guy, and like I said, if when you see him, you kind of, if you, I know he's going to get me on this, but he's kind of a reality TV star, put it that way. I don't watch too much reality TV, but my wife does. And it was one of the ways how I connected to him. Anyway, this is again, 2.5 years ago, and then we had, like I said, a good connection, a good vibe. That's what we had, because he knew what I knew, and I knew what he knew, and we were playing off each other. But it took 2 years to create this. It took about 1.5 years to create the fund that we have working legally, but because we have everything set up from a third-party standpoint, our lawyers, hooked up our fund structure up. We have everything geared for protecting everybody's investment, from accounting, from loan servicing, and everything. So when you put your dollars in, you'll get you trust that you get a good return safely, and the risk is mitigated. So
that's cool. That's cool. So what do you want to leave with our audience with? Once again, it's kind of lessons into blessings. You shared a lot of just kind of the journey you've gone through. What's the biggest blessing now, based upon the lessons that you've experienced? What's the biggest blessing you've been able to pull out of some of those down markets, those down experiences, especially with a family, right? You have a son, a wife, right? That all depend on you. What's the biggest blessing you've been able to pull out of that?
Well, it's gratitude for me, and it's just knowing that I'm just focused on the end in mind. I know, there's some things internally from a family standpoint, I knew where my son went through. And if he went through what he went through when he was 1 year old with, a double heart surgery, and came out of that, and now he's playing collegiate soccer, just because he wanted that drive. That drove me a long way from knowing that I cannot quit, and I will not quit. I won't quit.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's going to stop me. Now, there's going to be doors that's going to close. There's going to be no, 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 yes. That yes, that's what you're seeking. And it is at the end. And that's how, again, that's just how I am with this. And I would love to, like I said, just share this journey with, especially this real estate journey. If you definitely want to learn it, if you definitely want to grow your money, I'm here to teach, and not just here to, hey, I want to promote my fund. I don't want to do that. I really want you to understand this game and just that financial freedom and trading time for dollars. At this point in your game, yes, you've probably been working 9 to 5 and hustling and bustling, but it's going to be a time where you're going to stop working for that man, that person, making him or her make all the money and sit on the sidelines while you're slaving. So now's the time to start, especially with this market being the way it is. And we have this thing set up the right way so you can, live free, the financial freedom that you want, and give back, and give it a blessing, teach others, about this game.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, let us know. I can always leave your information in the video, but if you want to let people know how to get in contact with you, and then we'll close it out.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. If you information in down below or so, and I have an email address. I'm on Instagram, Cosmic Funding. I have a website, cosmic-funding.com. We have, again, a quick Zoom webinar over the details, meeting Mac over the details of our fund coming up tomorrow, but that will be definitely recorded in case you want to see that, and I'll give that to that link to you, Tari. You can give it out to your whoever's watching it. And again, we want to teach you, we want to grow your wealth, and now is a great time to do it. Now is a great time.
Cool beans. Well, thank you guys for joining us for another episode for Lessons into Blessings. Until next time.